Is this the recession we have to have?
The once mighty Australian economy, for so long the envy of the world, with its seemingly endless run of year-on-year growth, is finally having a come-to-Jesus moment. Having avoided recession during the GFC,
hey, there's a bubble,
dipping into the red only ever so slightly during the pandemic, and shirking the fallout from Russia's invasion of Ukraine, Australia's gross domestic product has been brought to its knees by a middle-aged woman with an honours degree in economics. The economy grew by a pretty anemic 0.3% in the September quarter. It means that over the year, GDP is up by less than 1%. The only thing that kept us in the red at all was government expenditure on things like infrastructure, the military and health.
There's nothing wrong with going for a run and having a kebab.
Households have pretty much stopped spending altogether. The private sector is, for all intents and purposes, in recession.
Gasp.
Not that RBA boss Michelle Bullock cares about that. Her remit is containing inflation, and nothing contains inflation quite like a contracting economy. So take a bow, Michelle. You broke it good.
Thank you.
What's worse, high inflation or recession?
In most countries you'd say inflation, but Australia's a bit different. We're terrified of economic recession here because we hardly ever have them, and Lord only knows how we'll react when it does happen.
I don't know what we're yelling about!
The last real one was that one Paul Keating said we had to have in the early 1990s. They're actually quite common in other countries, just part of the natural flow, and something governments just wear. But in Australia, recession is considered a sign of economic mismanagement, even though they're usually caused by events totally outside the control of Australian politicians.
So we can't blame Jim Chalmers for all of it?
Not all of it. Politicians have got to stop this fear of recession. It's crazy. The very definition is completely arbitrary. 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth. Only an economist could come up with the phrase negative growth. It's completely nonsensical.
Bueller.
What would you prefer? An economy that contracts by 0.1% in the September quarter and another 0.1% in December, or an economy that grew by 0.1% in September and then went backwards by 4% at the end of the year?
The first one you said!
Logically, we'd all take the 2 small negative quarters, but that would have signalled technical recession and therefore had us all freaking out more than the second scenario, despite a 4% tanking being a patently worse situation to be in.
Voodoo economics.
So what happens now?
Well, Anthony Albanese is about to go into an election, and there's no way he's going to hit the hustings during a recession. So he and Jim Chalmers will keep spending like drunken sailors.
You've lost that love and feeling.
Problem is, they're going to be spending money they don't have, because when an economy softens like it is now, government revenue falls. When you and I don't spend at the shops, there's less GST.
Insufficient funds.
And eventually businesses stop employing and post smaller profits, which means less payroll tax and company tax.
You ain't got no money.
So this government spendathon is yet again going to be on the national credit card, which is why we owe more than
$1 million.
$1 trillion. And with that debt load, when the music stops, the landing is not going to be a soft one. The lucky country could actually turn into that banana republic Keating warned us about. A third world country where there's no food on the shelves. Not enough electricity to go around.
We're wasting more energy than Ricky Martin's girlfriend. Hey you!
Where we can't use aircon for fear the grid will collapse.
Okay, we get it.
I'm Ben Harvey.